I have a substantial technology background in addition to being on the board of the New Jersey MLS in the tech world. So my desire here is to share as much of the technology as possible so that you guys don't have to, my thing is don't spend hours on this stuff, spend minutes so you can be out there selling and making money. It's not an easy business. And the less time we spend on the tech stuff, the more time we can be out there face to face with people and opening doors and making some money and having some fun. So thank you all for joining. If you ever cannot see the screens, please let me know because there may be some sort of a glitch, but generally it's working out pretty well. So what my desire is today is to go over the CMA. We're going to do a CMA class on the regular on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. And I'm going to be focusing mainly on the New Jersey MLS. I'm also going to be showing you some concepts from other third-party packages that we are allowed to use, like Cloud CMA and RPR. Both those packages you're entitled to as a member of the MLS. They are no fee, and they present you an opportunity to do a different type of analysis that's going to look and feel a little bit different than the straight New Jersey MLS. The best thing I can tell you is that you're probably hearing a lot of things in sales meetings about how to differentiate yourself because there are 12,000 of us in the local MLS, and that's a lot of competition. There's 1,500 of us within the Bergen County partners of Keller Williams, let alone the 12,000 of us. The good news is, if you haven't heard this from other coaches before, only approximately 15 to 20% of the total population is really working the business. So you're not, I don't want you to be upset that you're competing with 12,000 hungry people. You're probably competing with 2,000. So it's still a lot of people, but it's not as daunting as 12,000. So, dig in, jump in, both feet, and I'm going to always try to show you ways to be as efficient as possible on the computer so that you're not doing this all day. You're out selling and opening up doors and so forth. So the other great thing about the other packages that I'll show you towards the end of this hour is that they will feature non-MLS properties. And that's key because in environments or towns where there are not as many sales, you may run into a situation where you really can't comp out the house really well, but there was a private sale down the street where someone sold to their brother or sister or aunt, or there was a FSBO and you can't find it on MLS. So your reaction is, I can't put it into my MLS CMA and I'm in trouble. What can I do? So the answer then becomes use another package like Cloud, like RPR, so that you can incorporate other properties that you are aware of that where there was a sale, because it's valid, and that's what the appraisers are going to do anyway. And I always try to think like appraisers. First thing I have to do before the session is a non-technical thing, but I have to introduce you to my buddy here. This is Ted, and Ted's always with me on Zoom calls because he helps me get through the day, right, buddy? And he sits here quietly and watches us do this and keeps my spirits high. Stick around, pal. Okay. All right, so let me jump into CMAs. If you have questions, this is a non-scripted hour. So if you have questions, raise your hand, unmute yourself, shout out. You're going too fast. I don't get it. I didn't see where you got. My advice is to try to pay attention, not to your own screen, but to what you're seeing here, because you're going to get lost looking up and down, and you will not enjoy it. So my recommendation is follow along with what I'm sharing here. So I'm going to go into a screen share. Please confirm that you can see this. And there we are. All right. So can you... Let's see. Let's knock down the participants here, close that out. Okay, can you all see my screen share?
No.
No.
You
No.
cannot. Oh, okay, let me try. That's important. Share screen. How about now?
Okay. Yes.
You got my MLS now?
Yes.
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 Very good. Very good. So here's how we get started. You come over here to the heading where it says CMA reports and you run a new one and you'll probably wind up here, CMA with property search. It's going to bring you to a screen that you see every day. You're going to come down here and you're going to pick a town. I'm going to pick my the town of my birth. I still own my childhood home in Bergenfield, so I'm going to choose Bergenfield. And I'm going to look for, let's see, I'm going to look for 3-bedroom. Let's say I'm going to do this. I'm going to look for 3-bedroom houses in Bergenfield because I'm going to pretend like I'm going to list my house and we're going to use that for the CMA. So I'm going to look for 3-bedroom. I do not have to worry about bathrooms because bathrooms are an adjustment from the auto table. If I'm referring to the auto table, do you all know what I'm talking about?
No,
Yes.
I'm not certain.
Okay, so there is a table. It's not freely floating around because technically, according to the Auto Valuation Institute and Jeffrey Otto, you really have to sign up for his class and pay him $150 to go to the class, which I recommend highly, and he will give you the chart of adjustments. So when you hear people talking about making adjustments to CMAs, that is where the chart comes from. You may well find one in the office. It's not, again, it's not supposed to be freely distributed because he gives it out as part of the class. But when you hear people talk about the adjustments, I've got about 10 years worth of them. And there are adjustments there per bathroom, per garage, per renovated kitchen. And that's where all the adjustments come from. So we can really make fine-tune adjustments and definitions to the comps. We always adjust the comps, not the subject property. What we're trying to do is say if the comp had another bathroom or had one less garage, that it would be more similar to the subject property. And that's going to help refine the price and narrow down the price that's going to make sense for our house. So who do we do CMAs for? We do CMAs for the seller who wants to list the house, but who else do we do CMAs for?
Buyers that want to buy a house.
Excellent. Excellent, because you're gonna go around and show them houses. They're gonna be walking around with Roddy, and Roddy's gonna show them 4 or 5 houses in one session, and they're gonna like this particular one, and they're gonna go, Roddy, how much should we offer on the house? Are we gonna go and volunteer an exact number like 317? I don't think so. I'm gonna tell them that I'm gonna run the comps in the neighborhood and come back to them with a range. We always talk about range. And get back to them and give them an idea, and then the decision is theirs. It's never my decision as to what to offer. It's me educating them so that they can make a good choice. So that's what I'm looking to do. So I'm going to look for 3 bedrooms because there are no adjustment for bedrooms. There's adjustments for bathrooms and renovation and gross living area, square footage, basements, full, finished, central air, things like that, decks, porches, adjustments for all those pieces. Because what we find is that sellers are selling the house and they'll tell you their house is much the same as the one down the block. And the truth is it may look the same, but one may be a couple of 100 square feet larger or smaller, and one may have renovated baths. Another one that was built in the 50s may be stuck in the 50s and nothing's ever been touched since. You know, we tend to call that, you know, grandma and grandpa's house, but that's the case. And it turns out the neighbor who they think is exactly the same house, and it may be built by the same guy in the 50s and look the same from the street, The one that's next door may be totally renovated and it's got an expansion bump out family room in the back, like my house does in Bergenfield, and it's nowhere near the same. So we have to dig in. What we hope is when we're going through this, that we're digging in and you've seen some of these other houses in person. That may not always be the case. If I'm specializing in Northwest Bergen County and I get someone who wants to buy a house in Nutley, I've got a brand new listing in Rutherford that we just got an offer on. I don't work Rutherford all the time. So I've got to do my homework to look into the details of Rutherford listings because I have not been in those houses. It's not the area that I work all the time. So I got to dig in. So we're going to show you how to do that here. And more people trying to get into the room, which is wonderful. So again, I'm going to look for 3-bedroom. I'm going to look for 3-bedroom houses, and style-wise, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to go to my status, and I want a few things in status. I want what's active, I want what's under contract, and I want what's been sold in the last 2 or 3 months. If there are not enough sold in the last 3 months, you can extend that out to 6 and see what happens. You can change your criteria, you can change your price range, but you should, and especially with activities now, you'll probably find in 3 months, you'll probably find enough sales. You really don't need more than 3 or so because it's time consuming to make adjustments. So let me take a look and see. Wow, that gives me 70. All right, so let me scale that down. Let me go and say I'm going to look at Cape Cods only. Now how many? Now I've got 15. That's better. Now let's go to 3 months and let's take that down to 2 months and see what that looks like. And now I've got 11. So I'm going to go with 11 as a good sampling. And I'm going to say search. And I hope you can see this. I've got 2 actives and I've got 2 under contracts and I've got 7 solds. Can everyone see that as I'm scrolling?
Yes.
Good, excellent. So I've got 2 in the mid 3s over here, which in my mind is about where the range might be. So I'm going to select those actives. I'm going to select these under contracts because all of those factors go into the algorithms that build the pricing for you. My goal in this class is to show you what I call the mechanics of how we do the CMA. Believe me, we could discuss for hours whether or not things are really comps or how much adjustment to make for a bath or a kitchen. The adjustment for the kitchen might be $12,000 and maybe the homeowner spent $45,000. So, you know, it's not science. It's a lot of gut reaction. It's a lot of experience. So let's go through here. I'm not going to pick all 7 of these solds. I tend to do like the Olympic judges do, as I like to call it. I remove the high and the low, and I go in the middle. So I'll select all of those, and I'll remove the low one at 230 because I don't think that's going to be a reasonable one. And I'll remove the couple that are high because I don't think that I'm going to be in the 4s. So I've got 3 solds, I've got 2 actives and 2 under contracts. Everyone okay with that? Very good. I'm now going to go up to the top of my screen. It's already selected the CMA report, and I'm going to say go. And this is how we jump into it. Someone else wants to get into the room. Thank you very much. Welcome to those that just arrived. We're in the middle of it. We just selected a half a dozen properties, and we're jumping right into the CMA. So I'm going to jump in over here, and naturally I'm going to be fabricating this on the fly because I'm making this up based on my own house, which I'm not going to list right away because it's rented and my tenants would be upset. So I'm going to put in Sylvia Seller, and the address is going to be 9 Sunrise Terrace because that's my address, and that's in Bergenfield. 07621. And we do have to put it in email, and that's going to be Sylvia seller@Yahoo. I'm making this up, but this is what you have to put in. It's required to make the thing go. And as much as I don't focus all my energy in my old hometown, the crazy thing is you get a call out of nowhere, and I get a friend I get a call from a friend. And he says, "Sell my parents' house," which we did in a week. So it's a hot town, and you can never tell where your leads come from. I might have a profile picture I can load in. I recommend you take a picture with your phone for the purpose of the video. Okay, let's pretend that's a picture of the house. I'm going to load that up. Again, this is just for exercise. Choose a cropping. Let's crop center and accept it. All right, so let me not hold up the class any because it's already 1:28. So let me not hold it up with loading the profile picture, but you do want to at least snap a picture with your camera when you go to the appointment and you want to load it up. Again, let me put in Bergenfield here. Select a county is Bergen, and an area is 203. And here's what we do. So you now put in all the data from the visit you paid to these sellers. You probably sat at the dining room table and took copious notes on your yellow legal pad and made notes about the property. So it's 3 bedrooms, 1 full and 1 half bath. I'll be presenting it tomorrow, so I'll call the status date tomorrow, 01/07/2021. Style is going to be, mine's a colonial, so I'll call it a colonial, even though I've done capes. Keep in mind, if you can pick the same style, you'd like to stay with the same style. However, if you're looking at it as pure value and you're looking at it as an appraiser, a 3 bedroom, 1 and a half bath colonial that is approximately the same size with the same finishes is going to be largely the same price. Now, is it as desirable? Is the Cape Cod as desirable as a colonial? No, not to most buyers. Colonial typically is at the upper end of the hierarchy of most popular homes. But as far as pure value goes, when it comes down to square footage, it's probably going to be similar. So again, stick with the same style if you can find it. If not, go for something close. So number of rooms, I'm going to say 7. And it's got a full basement, and it's got a, let's see, I go down here, a 1-car garage, and it's got no fireplaces. And it's got, it's got hot air heat, and it's got central air. And the lot is 5,500 square feet, and the dwelling is 1,600 square feet. And the taxes are about 12,000. Again, I'm doing this for the mechanics, not the accuracy of each item. And again, the lot dimensions are approximately 55 by 100. With me so far? I know it's a lot of data, but I'm trying to give you as much as I can within the hour, and that's why we're going to do it weekly, because you're going to be doing this all the time. And there's no pool. Okay, so again, for the purpose of the report, when you're going to present this to Sylvia and Bob Seller, you could put in things that are going to fill in the report language, like nice hardwood floors, large backyard. You make up whatever you want to sound nice, and eat in kitchen with stainless steel and granite. Let's say that's your situation. So you can fill that in there. It is going to start to create a thank you letter. Thank you, dear Sylvia Seller. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come in and market your property. You can fill that in if you want it. But most importantly, we're going to get down here to the bottom and we're going to go to adjust the comps, if you can see that, and save and continue. Again, the mechanics of the CMA. So this is where we make the adjustments, and this is going to make a lot more sense when you get your hands on the adjustment sheet. What you're going to see here is that my subject property here on the left side in the far left column, this is my subject. I just went to visit Sylvia to talk about their house. And these are the solds. You can see the S's. These are the solds. This is the asking price, $399. It sold for $395. This one was asking $410. They sold for $415. It went over. This one was asking $425. They went and sold for $417.5. The purpose of these adjustments that you can see here, plus minus, are to make adjustments to the comps to make them more similar to the subject property. So when we go through and you can see here, my subject property is 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. This first house on Maiden Lane is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. This property here is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's got 1 more full, and this one has 3 and 2. So we're going to be making some adjustments. Questions so far? Too fast, too slow? You with me?
It's good.
Good. Love that. One of the other things that I'm going to recommend you do here, it's a little MLS trick, is I want to give you the ability to look inside these other houses that you may not have been inside. Like I said, I have a brand new listing in Rutherford. I used to work there. It's only 30 minutes away, but I don't live inside that inventory on a day-to-day basis. So when I met with that seller, I had to do some homework because I haven't been inside their neighbors' houses. Like I'm inside the houses in this area, Mawa, Wyckoff, Ridgewood, Ramsey. I'm in these houses all the time. I'm not in Rutherford houses. So how do I know what the houses are all about so that I can make a valid comparison? Well, here's a little trick. You're going to go to the top of your MLS sheet, if you can see where I'm pointing over here, and there's a button for new session. So a while back, the MLS knew it was valuable for you to be able to open up another session or 2 or 3 to be able to be logged into another session of MLS so you could do something different than what you're doing. Let me give you an example. I'm working on my CMA right now, but I've also got some clients that are really hot and they're calling me and my phone is ringing off the hook. And they may say, I need to talk to you about the house in Fairlawn from yesterday and I've got 10 minutes on lunch break. Do I want to bounce out of the CMA that I'm embroiled in right now to go jump into Fairlawn? I don't. So what can I do? I go to the new session button. It opens up a second MLS session so that my CMA is still running. Hang on, I want to be able to show this to you. Bear with me a second. I hope you can see this because it's a great feature. So here's my CMA still running. Can you see that?
Yep.
Here's my new session. So I've got my buyer on the phone. I'm working on my CMA, but I have all afternoon to do that. And my buyer wants to look into Fairlawn. So now I come over here and I say, search, property search, area, 217 is Fairlawn. And I start doing a Fairlawn search. Then I get another call from someone else who's equally hot and says, listen, I need to talk to you about that Ramsey condo. And I'm sitting at my attorney's office and I need an answer now. Your phone's buzzing. Again, I don't want to close down my CMA, so I open up another session. You can open up 10 of these until your computer runs out of memory. If you're working on a light computer, it may slow it down. If you're working on a robust computer that has tons of memory, you may not have any problem, but I've now got 3 sessions open. So here's my CMA. Here's my fair lawn person that needs me right away, and I'm looking up tax information for my other client, and they want me to look up something in Ramsey. You getting that so far? Good, good. Now, I want to show you why else we want to open these. So here's my CMA. I'm working on these, which is what we're talking about here. And I need to take a look at Maiden Lane because I want to see the fit and finish of Maiden Lane. I haven't been inside this house. So I copy and paste the MLS number for Maiden Lane. I come over here to one of the sessions I just opened. I paste it into the top quick search bar, which I hope you can see, and it's searching for it. And here we have Maiden Lane. So again, here's my CMA running, and now I can look inside Maiden Lane, and I can look inside and see the fit and finish of what the listing agent is describing as a finished basement or as a renovated kitchen. Make sense?
Yes.
I'm trying to share with you all the tools that you have available to you because believe me, it'll happen. You'll have your head inside this CMA for an hour and your head will be spinning with comps, and all of a sudden you'll get another call. I need to ask you a question on a rental. I need to ask you a question about another town, and you'll sit there and say, I don't want to back out of what I'm working on. I want to just move on. So that's what I use this for. I'm also going to open up the tax. I'm going to open up the tax record by hitting the T button because the tax is going to show me the lot size of the comps. It's going to show me the square footage. It's going to show me all sorts of other things about the other property as I'm running comps. Okay, so I come over to Maiden Lane, the first comp, and I see that it's 1,470 square feet. And I was running over here. I've got mine at 1,600 feet. So I'm going to make an adjustment for square footage for Maiden Lane. I'm going to go off my chart here. And my chart tells me that each square foot is worth about $70. And so I've got a difference of, I've got about 100, and let me do some math here.
Larry,
Yes.
that chart is specific to this market area, or because obviously Bergenfield is not the same as Upper Saddle River and so on.
Correct. It is specific to Mr. Otto specializes in New Jersey.
Okay.
What you will see when you get your hands on this chart is that he's got 5 price ranges.
Okay.
He's got 250,000, 400,000, 750, $1 million, and 250, and 2.5 million. So each adjustment, whether it's a renovated kitchen or a powder room, has a different price. There's the chart. So if you can show us, Cindy. Yes, so they're color-coded by column. So each adjustment has a different price depending on the house.
Got it.
So being that I'm looking at houses in Bergenfield around 400K, I'm looking at the 400K chart. If I suddenly walk into a 7,000 foot house in Upper Saddle, I'm in the 250 column, and then the garage, the bath, the kitchen all have different values. So an excellent question, and Mr. Otto takes care of that.
All right, but obviously not an exact science because a 10,000 square foot house in Dumont is not going to be the same as the 10,000 square foot home in Alpine per square footage basis. It's just not
correct. Correct.
Okay.
But if you find a knockdown in Alpine that hasn't been turned into a castle yet, and it's a $300,000 house, then the numbers are going to apply.
Okay, granted. Got it. Okay.
And there's an adjustment for land. So if you happen to be looking at a 300K house that's on the Frick estate alongside the golf course and it's on 7 acres, you're going to make an adjustment for the land and the neighborhood. But the numbers are pure. But Howard, what you said before is absolutely true. It's not science.
Yep, I see that. Okay.
We have some very specific statistics and calculations to be done, but this whole thing is not science. Because someone wanting to buy a 300K house in Alpine to put up a 10,000-foot house is not the same buyer as the person who wants to do it in Dumont.
No,
They're just not.
nope.
So let me make this adjustment. So going back to my subject property is 1,610 square feet. The one I'm looking at on Maiden is 1,470. That's 140-foot difference in interior space, which is probably the size of one room. And times $70, which is what Mr. Otto says it's worth, that's a $9,800 adjustment. So here's an adjustment we're going to make here for square footage. You can see me, I hope, $9,800. Here's the big question for the class. Is it an adjustment plus or an adjustment minus on my comp? And this is the key part of the class.
Minus,
Please, Jacqueline, please tell me why.
because the square footage is less. It's much less than yours.
Yes. So if we make it minus, we will lower the sale price of the house that's sold on Maiden. Is that what we want to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Who agrees? It's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Oh,
How's that possible?
It's counterintuitive. What we're saying here is that Maiden Lane is smaller than my house. If
Oh,
Maiden Lane
right.
sold and was as large as my house, would it have sold for more?
oh, okay.
So it's the opposite. There's a couple of popular abbreviations that people use to remember how we do this. And again, it's exactly the opposite of what your brain tells you.
Mhm.
So the ones I've heard are CPA, like counting, CPA, and CBS. So CPA is if the comp is poorer, then add, and if the comp is better, then subtract. How's that sound?
Makes sense.
CPA, CBS. So in this case, the comp is smaller, so we're going to say it's poorer. So we're going to add.
Yeah.
Because if this house was 130 square foot larger, it probably would have sold for more money. And that makes it closer comparison to my Sunrise house. Make sense?
Gotcha. Yes.
And after a while, you'll go through these. All right, so let's stay on Maiden Lane. Maiden Lane has 2 full baths. So let's see what a full bath is worth in a 400K house. Cindy, you're looking at your chart?
A full bath is worth $10,000.
$10,000. Plus or minus?
Comp is better, so you subtract.
Thank you. I hit the red button and it makes it subtract.
Oh.
It's upside down.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now I also have a powder room they don't have. So what's a powder room worth, Cindy?
That would be a half bath. That would be worth $5,000.
5,000. Plus or minus?
Comp is poorer.
Compass.
So we add.
Yep.
So we
I was
have
waiting
one
for something.
subtraction. So we took away 10,000 for the full and we add a powder room for 5. We get down to the bottom of the screen. And as you can see here, we have adjustments of 10,000, 5,000, 9,800. We have a net adjustment of $200. You see how this is going?
Right.
We're going to go through the entire house with all these adjustments. And then we're going to go through each of the solds. We only adjust the solds. And what you're going to see is that the sale price of the comps starts to go up and down. And then when you hit the button to run the algorithm, that's how it spins you and tells you about what the system thinks you should list the house for.
Oh.
That's how it goes. There is no adjustment for number of rooms. There is no adjustment for bedrooms. So let's go over to garages. This says it's got a 3-car garage. Let's take a look at that and confirm. 3-car garage detached. I have to see a picture of that. Bum, 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 bum. I see a 1-car garage. I see a 1-car garage and 2 parking spaces. So I'm going to say that's the same. We're going to go back here and I'm going to say no adjustment. 1-car garage. Now, on the chart, Mr. Otto also has adjustments for attached versus detached
Yes. Yeah.
because those have different values to buyers.
Mhm.
There's also a different value if the garage is below the house rather than on grade. Think about how your buyers look at it. You've got newly married, new parents, buyers, and they're picturing walking into the house, carrying a newborn, carrying their groceries from the store, and the garage is 1 floor below the rest of the house. Is that house as desirable as one where the garage is on the same level?
No.
No. So there's an adjustment for that. Again, it's not pure. We're not looking into the hearts and souls of the buyers, but you know, the experts tell us there's an adjustment. So you'll see that in the chart as well. So if you have a detached garage, which means that you likely have to walk out into the rain or snow with your groceries, that has a value as well. So that would be another adjustment.
Mhm.
Let's go to the next adjustment there. Garages, fireplace. Let's say you had an adjustment for a fireplace. Mr. Otto says a fireplace is worth $7,000. So if you had one, you'd put one in here and you'd put in $7,000. There is no adjustment for heating. There is an adjustment for cooling. So my subject property on Sunrise has central air. In fact, it has 2 systems of central air. Maiden Lane does not. So what's the adjustment for central air?
8,000.
Let's see.
2
2
zones.
zone, 8,000.
So you've got to add.
Comp is poorer.
Yes, it's
We
so you
add.
add.
So it's 8,000. Now, again, keep in mind, just like a renovated kitchen, it's going to cost you a lot more than $8,000 to put central air in the house, but these are the adjustments that the experts give us. Okay, there's an adjustment for pool. This one says it's got an indoor pool. I'd have to see that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring up that listing right now because if this has an indoor pool, I'd like to see it on River Edge Road because I know that road rather well. Let's come over here and see. I'd be amazed. It has an indoor pool. Maybe they meant in ground. It says indoor. Okay, let's see. Indoor pool. Does this really have an indoor pool? Can you see the listing as I'm bringing this up?
Yes, I see it.
All right, so let's see. Nice house,
Mm.
nice hardwood, nice inside. Let's see if it really has an indoor pool. Okay, kitchen is older, has a couple of new appliances, but the kitchen is older.
Right.
My house had those cabinets as well. By the way, this is part of the tricky part when we say that there's no science to this. If you're looking at this kitchen and someone says it's renovated or updated, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm looking.
I wouldn't agree.
So what I'm seeing is some new appliances, which are certainly worth a few $1,000s. But when you take a look at these cabinets from the 50s
They're old.
and this countertop that's got the metallic roughed edge on it,
Yeah, it's very old.
there's still some money to be spent here. So the words come into play, remodeled versus updated versus upgraded. So we have to be careful. And this is why I like to bring up a separate window that I told you about and look inside the house because I haven't been inside this house. Let's see, someone is writing me in the chat. Have to run. Great stuff. Catch you next time. Thank you, Howard.
Thanks, Larry. Got to get a COVID test. I'll see you next week.
Just had it. Be safe.
Thanks. You too.
Take care. Okay, so I'm still looking for this indoor pool. If there's an indoor pool in this
Agree with
house,
that.
I'll be astounded.
I'm
What do you
gonna
do?
I'm guessing it's either in ground or there's a spa somewhere. Maybe there's a hot tub. Let's see.
see it.
There. Let's see. I'm still looking. Whoa,
Oh,
in ground. Okay, so that's just that's a typo.
Yeah.
And looks like there's a hot tub here in the
yeah.
deck.
Mhm.
Boy, that's a house for partying right there.
Nice.
We didn't get the invitation to the party at that house. All right, so there you go. That's, proof of the pudding there. We look at the details. It doesn't have an indoor pool. It's got an in-ground pool. So this has a pool. What is Mr. Otto making any claims about pools?
$6,000.
In-ground pool, $6,000.
Mhm.
Again, could you put a pool in for $6,000?
Probably not.
No chance. 50, 70, 100, whatever it is. But and here's the other thing, and we could discuss this for days. Is a pool a positive, a pro or a con for a lot of buyers?
For little children, no, it's not.
I think a lot of people wanted it years and years ago. I think these days, a lot of people are cautious
Liability.
about it. New world.
Yeah.
It's
A lot
work,
of work.
it's
A lot
maintenance,
of work.
and it's a scary thing for children if the gate's not locked. But anyway, Mr. Otto says it's worth $6,000. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to put it in.
And
Let's
you
go down here.
subtract.
It's got a pool on this one over here. So we're going to say $6,000 plus or minus.
Comp is better, so you
Yes,
subtract.
Subtract.
Thank you. So there's a $6,000 adjustment here. So you can basically see where this is going. Let's go over here. $8,000 for no air. So this one gets it as well, $8,000. This one has central air, so there's no adjustment. And as you can see, we would go through all three houses, opening up all the details of the listings as I have done here,
Yeah.
and go through item by item by item, especially the tax record, which has the finished square footage. Because as I think you can see from our adjustments column, that's the biggest adjustment, is square footage. If one house is 1,600 square feet and you get another one that's got expansion and it's 2,200 square feet, that house is going to be worth a lot more money, even though they look the same from the street. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So being that I've got only 5 or 6 more minutes here, let me move on to the next step. And I think you're okay with the fact that I've showed you how to do the mechanics on the adjustments, right?
Yes.
Get the chart, go through the adjustments, open up the comps, look at the pictures, go through them, see what finished means. Keep in mind, another big adjustment, basements. Somebody can say the basement's finished. They could do dry lock on the cinder block walls, and they can throw down a remnant rug and put a TV down there and say that's finished basement. And for the purposes of living and enjoyment, it is. It's not the same as somebody coming down there and sheetrocking up the basement and putting in a floating floor and adding heating and cooling and putting a bar down there. I think we'd all agree.
Right.
So you want to keep that in mind when you're going through. Okay, so let me go down to the bottom and say continue. Can you see the continue button at the bottom?
Where is that?
It's got a note here telling me my adjustments are going to be saved, and it's going to move me to the pricing page. I'm going to say okay. And here's my pricing page. This is the point at which I can print the report. I can email the report. If this is someone that you trust and you're going to see them later and you're going to give them an electronic copy so you can have a discussion and a presentation later, you can do that. And this is where you do it. So here's the average min max of your actives. Here's the under contracts. So the average of the actives is 357. The under contracts are 379. And the average of your solds is 414. It's come down here and run the calculations, and it's saying that the average of my solds is 414.1. And according to the algorithm that the MLS is running, it's making a recommendation that my list price might be almost $417,000. You'll notice that the section down here for suggested list price is empty. They give you the option of writing that in before you present it or not. Some agents like to have it filled in, so they have a record of what they make a recommendation. You may meet with the seller and sit at their dining room table and say, I think we're going to list the house for 450 because it's in just the best location. Or you may come back and say, it's in rough situation, it's sitting next to a bank building, it's on a busy road, which there are also adjustments for, which we didn't get to. And you may say this is really a 400K house rather than 416. Questions?
That's all good.
Good so
Nope.
far?
Yeah, very interesting.
Good, yes.
So,
Let me show you the latest.
Harrison.
Go ahead, Roddy.
I'm sorry, for those of us that aren't too familiar with types of houses, you've got bi-level, split level, colonial, Cape. What if you don't have enough of that particular style available in inventory in that town?
I would try to go with similar style if you have. If not, I would go as close as you can to square footage.
Okay,
Again, are Cape Cods as popular as colonials? No. Are bi-levels as popular as ranches? No. They all have their own value. They all have their pros and cons. Bi-levels are great for new buyers because they have no basements, so there's no water to worry about. They also have very little storage because the entire house is on grade, so there's no basement, no storage. They typically have 1 or 2 garages built in underneath, which is a great thing. But everyone has a different feel. For my experience, I would say if you have a 2,000-foot Cape Cod and you can find a 2,000-foot colonial, you may have to use those as comps. If you have a split level home, I would include bi-level homes because they're both derivatives of ranch style homes. And you can usually comp those together. But there is definitely a hierarchy amongst buyers as to what they feel is the what they expect to get for their money.
got it.
So let me show you this. It's an excellent question. Let me show you the latest feature in the MLS that's right here on this screen. You'll see the active prospect count with a slider. This is the very latest feature out of the MLS. So it says, slide the handle below to see the number of saved prospect searches in Bergenfield at every price point. So what we did at the MLS is we had a conversation and we said, you know, every time an agent, like all of us, puts in a prospect, which is a saved client we're working with where you can save it and send them email updates with what's coming on in the neighborhood they want. Think about it. If 12,000 of us are putting prospects into the MLS with what town they want, how many bedrooms, what price range they're looking at, guess what we now have? We now have a tremendous amount of data about what buyers in this area are looking for. So we decided to put a tool in here for the listing agent to be able to see, okay, take a look at where I'm pointing. At $424,000 in Bergenfield, there are currently 70 saved prospects. So agents have filled out Bergenfield searches in this price range, and there are 70 people looking for a house this price in Bergenfield. You find that to be valuable information to have?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I do. Now watch what happens. The seller says to you, I think we should try to price the house higher. Let's try it. I think it's a great house. We take the slider and we move it up to 450 and watch what happens.
Number goes down.
So now at 456, there's only 53 people looking in that range. If we go up higher to 500, there's 47. If we say to them on the other side, why don't we try underpricing the house and maybe trying to get some real buyer frenzy, watch what happens. There's now 75.
Mhm.
You think that's a valuable tool when you're sitting there at the dining room table with your seller talking to them about how to price the house?
Sure.
Absolutely.
So that's the latest tool that's in the MLS for your use.
Okay, gotta go. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Roddy.
Thank you.
For those of you that can stick around a couple of minutes, let me just briefly touch on the things that I talked about before with these other packages that you might want to know about. As long as you can stick around. If you can, I understand. And they're going to cut me off pretty soon for the next class.
Yeah, when you went in, I know that you said it's very early in the class, but you said you went to switch screens and you went to toolkit. What is it that you clicked on toolkit that had you switch screens and save what you were doing?
Narrow.
You mean the new session button?
Description button.
Yeah. Oh, that's,
The new,
is that in toolkit?
no, it's right here in the upper part of the banner is new session button.
I'm sorry, I'm working from a phone, so I have trouble seeing. Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
New session button, which allows me to open up other sessions of the MLS so that I can take a look at the details of listings.
Also, when we put a person in to send emails to, and the MLS wants all their information, why do they want all that information?
That's for you. That's for you. You don't have to fill anything else out in there but their email and their cell phone. Because when you're going to put them in as prospects, if you're going to want to auto email them when things come on, you're going to want their email in there. And now that you can also text listings, you want their cell phone in there. But you don't have to fill out everything else like whether or not there's a veteran. So just first name, last name, email, cell phone, and you're all set. And the MLS is not doing anything with that data except for what you just saw on the CMA, which is to be able to come down here and tell you how many people are looking for a house in that range. Okay? So let me jump over here and quickly show you how to get to these other areas that you might want to know about. Let's say that you want to do what you might call a quicker CMA, and you may also want to find properties that are privately sold that may not have been on the MLS. Maybe you heard about a couple of FSBOs or a couple of family sales. You can come down here. I'm going to try to get this for you. You see Cloud CMA? You click on Cloud CMA, and it's going to bring up a new window. You do have to sign in and register for this, but it's free. If you get to a screen where it's asking you for a credit card, you've gone too far. Cloud CMA is a nationwide CMA package. It's been around for a long time. It has lots of great features in it that you can play with, but it will allow you to do what they call a quick and dirty CMA. And I'm going to try to show it to you in a couple of minutes. So you come down here and you create a new report and you do a CMA. I hope you can see this. And I name the report Barbara Buyer. And I want to come over here and I want to center it around. I'm going to use the same address. And it's already filled in the number of square footage, and the bedrooms are 1.1, which is 1.5, and it's residential, and it is a colonial. Okay, we come down here. You have a choice now. Let's keep in mind that you want to do this quickly. You can either, on the left side, put in a string of MLS numbers, or you can come over to the right side and do what you most likely want to do here is what they call the quick and dirty. And you find listings near the subject property. And I'm going to ask for 10 listings here, and I'm going to go back a year for off-market listings. and I'm going to hit fetch. Excuse me. And it's going to very quickly go in and do a geotag on my address. And it's going to come in here and look what it found. It found a number of properties that are centered right around my house. And the ones that are orange are under contract, and the ones that are sold are 9s. Now, keep in mind something when you're doing this. We come down here. What you're going to see is you have a bunch of properties in Bergenfield. And being that I know where my house is, I'm on the Teaneck border. So you're also going to see in that radius, you're going to see a number of houses that are in Teaneck. Do I want the houses from another town? No. So I'm simply going to come down here and I'm going to uncheck the ones in Teaneck because I only want Bergenfield. Okay, so now I just have the ones from Bergenfield. And you see over here under my check that I have details and adjustments. That's my house. And I can come down here now and I can make adjustments the same as I did off the chart from the other. It's not as structured, but I can make the same adjustments. Garage plus or minus. 200 more square feet plus or minus. So what this does is it gives you the opportunity to go in and quickly, without knowing much, you see, I didn't put in much information about that neighborhood. I just went in there and said, find me neighborhood houses that have sold. So this is what they call the quick and dirty. So again, this is not MLS based, this is public record based. So that if you know that they were private sales that are good comps for what you're working on, this is where you go find them. I know I'm not getting into this in much detail, but I want to show you the tool. So when you have a moment, you can jump in there and try it because I think you'll like it. The other benefit that I mentioned at the beginning is then your report that you present to your seller is not going to look exactly like all the ones out of the MLS like this that we're all running. So if you're paying attention in sales class and your instructor, who might be Hal or whoever it is telling you to find a way to differentiate yourself and look different than all the rest of us, having a report from Cloud CMA might make you look different enough to win the listing.
Got a question.
Sure.
How do you find multi-family? Where does it have it that you're looking for that?
I think, bear with me a second. I think back in the, when we went back to the criteria, I think there was an option to search here, property type, right here.
Okay.
2 to 4. The other thing to keep in mind, again, on the order of your branding and how your clients see you, I always talk to the people I'm speaking about the fact that I can help them not only in their hometown, but I can help them anywhere. I've got a list up on my board that you can't see of people that I'm referring out to the Carolinas, to Florida, to Phoenix. Keep in mind that with these tools, which are nationwide tools, when you step out of the MLS, nationwide tools like Cloud, Remine, RPR, when someone says, can you show me what properties are going for in this neighborhood in Scottsdale? Think of how knowledgeable you sound when you're sitting with those people and you show them and you bring up your iPad and you can show them what houses are selling for in Scottsdale.
Oh, great.
And then you also have the ability to go out and search within your network and find them a great agent in Scottsdale that's going to take care of your family and friends, and they're going to send you a check at the end. So think about the big picture. You've got all these packages that will allow you to do these things. I get calls all the time from people. I spend a lot of time annually down the Jersey Shore, all the way down to Cape May and the Crest. It's my favorite place. I get asked to do showings down there. I'll go down there and show a property if I can. I probably won't take a listing because that's way too much to handle. But I can now get online with these tools and show people what things are selling for in neighborhoods that I know well, even though they're not in my backyard.
Yeah.
But all over the country. You may have friends asking you what's going on outside of Las Vegas. What are things selling for? It'd be really great to be able to say, I have all the tools to show you that. And you do.
Wow, this is pretty.
They're at your fingertips, and they're also on mobile apps. So you're sitting having a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, and you can bring up a mobile app like RPR and show them exactly what's available. You have all these tools right there. Speaking of RPR, let me show you that really quickly before I have to lose you. So there's this other system called RPR. The way you get to it is the address is narrpr.com, NAR, National Association of Realtors, narrpr.com. RPR is the Realtor Property Resource. It's also free of charge. You're entitled to it by virtue of the fact that you belong to the National Association of Realtors. And you have to go in and make up an account, but you have all this access. So you have the ability to go in, and by the way, you can get to it a shortcut. You can get to it, let me show you. When you're inside the MLS, you may not have clicked on this button yet to find it. Let me show you, bear with me a second. If you're familiar with these buttons out here, come on, internet. Okay, here we go. If you come over here, can you see this where I am?
Right. P.
The P, which is kind of a khaki green, this will take you to NAR RPR. So when you click on that, this is where it brings you. It brings you to this screen, which might be a listing. It might be an off-market property. Again, this is one of those packages that you have access to. Tremendous detail. Look at the detail about this house. Here's detail here about what's going on in the town versus the rest of Bergen County. Here's details about the owners. Here's school data. Here's value of what's going on in town over time. Here's tax data, square footage, flood zone, all sorts of things right here at your fingertips. So if it's a listed property and you click on the P button, it gets you right here. Or you can simply come into the home site here and type in an address. So this is a listing I have. It's now in attorney review. This is the, what they call the RVM, which is the Realtors Valuation Model. So based on input from realtors and other things that have sold, I've got it listed at 500. The RVM is 491, so not so terrible. I ran a comp analysis on it a while back and I came up with 517. So again, not so terrible. We priced it at 500. We brought it down from where it was and we got an offer and signed it. So take a look at what's in here on this screen. Bedrooms, bathrooms, colonial style, square footage, dollars per square foot, pictures, all about the town. Median list price, median public sale price. Again, as I said with Cloud CMA, RPR, you can look for private sales. So if you know that a property down the block got sold to a cousin or a FSBO, you can check it here and go right to the public record and see what goes on, because public and private sales are valuable for running comps. So again, this is another resource, another third-party product that you have available through the NJMLS. All you have to do is sign up for it and put in a passcode, and you have access to all this other data. So between this and Realist, which is available from every listing, and Remine, you have a tremendous amount of resource for finding out information about on-market and off-market properties. Questions?
Nope.
Helpful? Yes,
Very,
hopefully?
Very, very helpful.
Good.
Thank you.
All these tools are right here for you. All you have to do is go. By the way, before I leave you, let me go back to the main menu. Can you see this on the MLS main screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
If you come down to here
all the open houses on the
and
county.
you come down here, you have help videos.
Yeah.
You click on help videos and you come down to the bottom. There are help videos for all of these other third-party products that you may not have touched on before.
Yeah.
Realist, Remine, Cloud CMA, Showing Time. I'm doing a separate class on Showing Time because I'm such a big fan of using it.
Yeah.
We don't use zip forms too much here because we have DocuSign and Dotloop, but you have videos here showing you how to do comps, how to bring up the products and so forth. I know there's a lot, especially, I mean, a lot of you are new faces. I've not met most of you. There's a lot of stuff when you get into real estate, and there's a lot of stuff when you get to Keller. People are throwing command at you and all sorts of things, and there's a lot, and after a while, it's overwhelming.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's a word.
That's how I feel.
As I said, I've been in this office 10 years, and it's overwhelming. So that's why we try to do the classes and give you an idea where the tools are so you can sit back when you have a chance. Here you go. How to do a CMA with a property search, how to do cloud CMA with a property search. Help videos right there, because you may not always be able to carve out an hour while you're homeschooling your children or running them back and forth or whatever else you have to do in your life these days.
This has been incredible, by the way. I wish I had this class
Yes.
a few days ago. I screwed up on a CMA. I'm trying to fix it now. It might be too late for me and this seller, but at least I know how I screwed up.
No, it's all a matter of figuring it out. You know, don't look at it that way. Look at it as an experience.
Mhm.
Pricing is incredibly difficult. It's not science. It's all a matter of experience and guts. I had to make adjustments on my latest listing in order to get people attracted to it. I came up with a price. I talked to my sellers. They said, can we try this? I wasn't really keen on trying that, even though houses are selling at crazy prices in the current environment the last 9 months. We put it on the market at their number. And guess how many calls we got? Goose egg.
Really?
No calls, no nothing. They kept calling me. No calls, nothing. Did an open house, 1 visitor, nothing.
Mm.
We lowered the price down, 3-4 showings a day, offer, boom, signed, done.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's something that you figure out. I've been pricing them for a while. I'm in my 18th year, and it's not science. It's a matter of experience and learning.
Larry, I had a quick question. Can you just repeat how to get access to the auto table again for the adjustments?
The way that I'm supposed to tell you to get to the auto table is you have to attend a class.
Which class specifically?
Well, he runs these seminars on a regular basis, Auto Valuation Group, Jeffrey Otto. And that's how you get to him.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You may find someone else who's kind enough to very carefully and quietly share with you. But again, according to Mr. Otto, in order not to be blatantly doing this the wrong way, we're not supposed to. In other words, you won't see it posted around the office. I would recommend attending, virtually or otherwise, attend as many of his sessions as you can. They are mind-blowing. The things he will teach you about how to do the CMAs and how to look at valuation.
Perfect. Thank you.
My pleasure. We're going to do this CMA. I've been requested to do this every Wednesday for the foreseeable future at 1 o'clock.
Thank you,
I will
God.
be here. I'm also looking to do other sessions that I'm customizing every month. So I'm going to be doing showing time. I'll be doing RPR. I'll be doing Remine. We want to get as geeky as possible, but my goal is to have you be familiar with these so that you don't wind up saying, I had no idea I had that tool in my tool belt. There's a lot of these tools. MLS, Cloud, Realist, Remine, RPR. You're going to want to play with them all and get comfortable with what they are. I wish I could tell you that we could do a mobile class, but the mobile class doesn't work out terribly well online because I can't broadcast to my Zoom. But when we get back to doing the sessions in the office, we'll do the mobile ones because I want you to be able to see the number of these apps that are available on your mobile phone, and they're fabulous. So whether or not you're working on a laptop or a tablet, or you go on an appointment and carry an iPad or your phone, we want you to have access to all the tools that are available and know what to do with them because it's great. For example, before I lose you, RPR has a great mobile app.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can show you so you can see this.
No.
No. Well, that's why. Maybe you can see it now when I do this. So RPR has a mobile app.
Okay.
And so it's GPS driven. So if I have a meeting with my seller in Rutherford and I don't work Rutherford all the time, what you'll see on that welcome screen is the number of active listings, the number recently sold.
Right.
Also see distressed properties with one-click distressed properties. And those would be properties that are short sales or pre-foreclosure. More and more agents that are joining our organization are working with investors, and they want to see distressed properties because they're looking for flips for their clients.
Right.
So I'm remote, sitting in a Dunkin' Donuts with Wi-Fi access, and my buyer suddenly says, how about distressed properties near here? Now I'm 30 minutes away from where I normally do most of my work. Guess what I can do now? I can
Do this.
calmly bring up my RPR app, which will GPS me to where I'm sitting in an area that I don't work in all the time, and it'll come up with distressed properties. I tap on it and they instantly come up. Why is it distressed? Seller's information, is it on the market or not, and go. So you instantly have the ability to look like you're really on top of all the tools when you can do that. A lot of the agents are going farther than before. I saw someone who's working out of the Ridgewood office today. She just put on a listing in Chatham. I just sold a listing in Randolph. I got one going in Randolph and in Succasunna, and people are working up in Vernon. I mean, I got one coming on in Friedan, which is a neighborhood of Newton. So we're all going where we need to go in order to get work done. I have to have these apps in my hand in order to go up to Newton, New Jersey, and sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So the goal here is to show you as much as what's out there so that you can really, again, we're not looking to snow anyone. It's an ethics breach if you snow them, but we're looking to be as knowledgeable as possible so that you can have real data in your hands.
So you come in course that you know what you're talking about.
You have to.
Yes.
You have to, but if you can present the data to people and show them the last 6 properties that sold in a radius around their house, you're providing a valuable service, and you have the tools to do that everywhere. Whether you're on vacation, you know, I'm sure it's happening to you and it's a lot of fun. I'll go and play golf up in Hamburg. I'll be playing golf up at Crystal Springs, and the fairways are lined with condos. Well, guess what the guys want to know, whoever I'm playing golf with, guess what they want to know?
How much do they sell for?
How much do these sell for?
Yep.
You're standing there, you know, we have a drink in your hand, I got a cigar going, and I bring up my app and it comes up and shows me that those 3 are for sale and this is what they're going for. I mean, you're not out there, flashing your real estate hat all the time, but guess what? When you're able to answer those questions that quickly,
Yeah, it's
you're
great.
telling people that you have an idea what you're doing and you can help them virtually anywhere. Don't forget to ask them where they're going. When you're working on a listing, don't forget to ask them.
Okay.
You're looking to sell in Ridgewood, where are you going? Oh, we're going to Myrtle Beach. Okay, I can help you there, by the way. You don't forget to ask. You can help them on the other side.
Mhm.
Great.
This is terrific.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you for sticking with me. You stuck with me for an hour and a half, so I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. A lot of
Thank
information.
Really appreciate it.
This is amazing. Is there a way I can rewatch? I mean, I just kept trying to emulate what you're doing here on my laptop, that I can rewatch this and.
Good question. Number one, you can click on any of these videos that you see here on the MLS. Number two, most or all of these sessions are being recorded by
Okay.
the office, and they're available on the BCP YouTube channel. Have you been there yet?
I think so. I'm gonna look at my.
So go on to YouTube sometime and look up Keller Williams Bergen County Partners, and you can subscribe to that group, not just Keller Williams, because then you'll get Keller Williams, Texas. But if you go in and you look up Keller Williams BCP or Bergen County Partners, you'll see a collection of videos, and you'll see me, and you'll see Hal Benz, and you'll see David, and you'll see a lot of other folks. And I know that there's some CMAs in there, and I've got a
Amazing.
line in
I'm
there.
there.
So
I am
you can,
subscribed.
so subscribe to the channel, and then you can watch.
Amazing. So I'll wait for this because this has been like monumental. Thank you. so
My
much.
pleasure. I'm just trying to share back over my time. Lots and lots of talented agents, including people in the office, have shared with me and taught me and held my hand until I got going. And the truth is, I learn more about what I'm doing when I explain it to you. So this session helps me, because the more I talk about it, the more I'm comfortable in discussing it with the public and discussing it with consumers. Because as your coaches will tell you, as Radney will tell you, or as Hal Benz will tell you, there's no substitute for talking this through. And once you get more comfortable, when people start talking to you, there's no script that's going to make you as comfortable as just being able to just talk to them about what's going on. So I hope this helps. The more you do it, it'll just start to flow.
It does. Thank you.
My pleasure. Come visit often. I hope we get back soon where we can do it in person. I look forward to meeting all of you in person, because we probably never met, but we'll have to meet online via camera for a while, and then we'll get back. So good luck. Get out there. Be safe.
Great day.
Work with all the technology. You're going to get a lot of stuff thrown at you, so practice the technology. You're probably looking to go show a house later on, and someone is saying, oh, by the way, you need to quick download and send me a signed COVID form. So you're going to say, okay, how do I do that? So you're going to want to be able to use, .loop, DocuSign, all the tools, use your phone. So, get online and get yourself up to speed as much as you can so that you can plow through this. It's not easy.
That's right.
Sounds good. Thank you again.
Have
Get
a
out
good
there.
day,
Good luck.
guys.
Please
Take
be
care.
safe and good selling.